Muslim Brotherhood members to attend Obama's Cairo speech in 2009. The Muslim Brotherhood has a complicated history, though the hardline group, which calls for an Islamic State and has close ties with the militant Hamas, is officially banned in Egypt. Its members have considerable sway in the country and its lawmakers. With Muslim Brotherhood set to join Egypt protests, religion's role may grow. Demonstrators came after Friday's prayer. The political movement will literally be taken to the doorstep of the nation's mosques. As Egypt's government and security services brace for the expected wave of mass demonstrators, Islamic groups seem poised to emerge as wildcards in the growing political movement. Tomorrow is going to be the day of the Intifada, says a spokesman for the Muslim Brotherhood here in Egypt's second largest city, who declined to give his name because he said he would be arrested if he did. U.S. open to role for Islamists and new Egypt government. The Obama administration said for the first time that it supports a role for groups such as the Muslim Brotherhood, a banned Islamic organization in a reformed Egyptian government. Israel silently watching the unfolding of two new fronts. Middle East experts predict that however the Egyptian uprising turns out, and whichever direction it is pushed and pulled by the United States, it will end in a new election and a new civilian government in which the Muslim Brotherhood will be substantially represented. Flexing his new muscles, the head of the Muslim Brotherhood of Jordan and a close ally of Hamas said on January 29th, Egypt's unrest will spread across the Middle East, and Arabs will topple leaders allied with the United States. Iran backs Egypt's revolution of the noble. Iran on Sunday praised Egypt's revolution of the noble and slammed Western governments' backward reaction to the uprising in the Arab nation. Iran's new foreign minister also hoped that Egyptians' high aims and national demands and resurrection of their glory could be achieved in the very near future. They likened the Western states' position on Egypt to supporting the Shah during the Islamic Revolution, which toppled the U.S.-backed monarch in 1979. Their analysis of Islamic countries is still backwards, he said. So we have Iran slamming the West for supporting the uprising in Egypt, saying it's, quote, a backwards reaction, and that the analysis of the Islamic countries is, quote, still backwards. And then they follow that up by comparing the current events to the 1979 ouster of the U.S.-backed Shah. To fully grasp what he's saying, we have to take a step back in history and look at what exactly transpired. So here is an article from the Wall Street Journal posted in 1984. The Islamic Revolution that engulfed Iran in 1978 through 79 caught most Middle East specialists completely by surprise. But why? Their answer could help predict radical changes in other countries that appear deceptively stable, such as Morocco or Tunisia today. During the rule of the Shah, Western analysts from both the mainstream and the left misgauged the political currents, although for different reasons. Both liberals and conservatives succumbed to the happy illusion that Iran was westernizing smoothly. They ignored its building tensions. They failed to note the continual social and political role of the religious leaders. They underestimated the continuing and in some regards even growing social problems. Washington's good relations with the Iranian government and sympathy for the Shah's effort strengthened the illusion of calm. Analysts on the left made the opposite mistake. They judged Iranians to be the passive victims of imperialism, unable to resist their government. The left foresaw no shakeup in Iran so long as the Shah kept the support of the major foreign powers. Whatever the reason, however, almost all analysts mistakenly underestimated the power of the religious opposition. And that was from the Wall Street Journal in 1984. Just like all the uprising we are seeing today, Iran's revolution began with the popular democratic movement, and it ended with the establishment of one of the world's primary Islamic states. And that is something to remember. Now, with that into consideration, let's jump forward to an article released in 2010 on Fox News, as I believe this is another important puzzle piece. Iran set to deliver punch to stun West on anniversary. The Iranian nation, with unity and God's grace, will punch the arrogant Western powers on February 11th in a way that will leave them stunned. The country's top cleric was marking the occasion when Iran's Air Force gave its support to the revolutionary leader, a key event which led to the toppling of the US-backed Shah on February 11th. So with all this coming together, I believe the events we are seeing now were originally going to begin last year, but something stopped them or got in the way. As we know, February 11th of this year is when Mubarak stepped down, and the protests began to spread rapidly. Alright, now we're back to February 23rd of 2011. Iran's president, Mideast upheaval will reach the U.S. Iran's president said on Wednesday he is certain the wave of unrest in the Middle East will spread to Europe and North America, bringing an end to governments he accused of oppressing and humiliating people. Iran's hardline leaders have sought to claim some credit for the uprising in the Arab nations, saying they are evidence that its 1979 Islamic Revolution, which ousted the US-backed Shah, is being replayed. Ahmadinejad said the world was in need of a just system of rule that puts an end to oppression, occupation, and the humiliation of people. It's a wave that's coming, he said. The world is on the verge of big developments. Changes will be forthcoming and will engulf the whole world, from Asia to Africa and from Europe to North America, Ahmadinejad told a news conference on Wednesday. So you see, I think this has been in the planning for some time now. What we're seeing is not just a sporadic uprising of people. This is planned, and now we are seeing the replaying of the 1979 revolution. Except at this time, it's not just one U.S. ally in the Middle East. It's all of them. Now, going back to what the Muslim Brotherhood leader said, Egypt's unrest will spread across the Middle East and Arabs will topple the leaders allied with the United States. Egypt, anti-government protests declare day of rage. U.S. treads carefully as Egypt's turmoil could mean loss of key ally. Tunisian, day of rage. Since 1956, Tunisia has steered a secular pro-Western course and has been a key ally in the U.S. fight against terrorism. Jordan, February 25th, day of rage. Unrest ripening across the Arab world is putting pressure on the Jordan's king, a key U.S. ally. Jordan emerges as key CIA counterterrorism ally. Yemen next, 20,000 on streets in day of rage. Tens of thousands protest Yemen president, a key U.S. ally. The West is particularly concerned about the instability in Yemen, home of the terrorist network Al-Qaeda. Algeria prepares for day of protests. U.S. eyes Algeria as key partner in war on terror. Bahrain, activists and day of rage. U.S. concerns grow over Bahrain, a key Gulf ally. The United States urged Bahrain on Thursday to show restraint as concerns deepened over the unrest in the cornerstone for the U.S. military power in the region and a strategic ally on oil supply lines from the Gulf.